Devotees and friends, Bhagwan Shiva and Parvati had two sons, Kartikeya and Sri Ganeshaji. And the two boys were growing up very well. And so, devotees and friends, as our young boys are growing up, Karu, Roshan, Munish, well, my good friend Millington is not here, but I'll tell him. As our boys and girls are growing up, as parents, we need to keep a close eyes on these boys, Mr. Boise. I know Mr. Boise have a close eye on his two boys. But my dear friends, parents listening and viewing us on Sankhya TV, the message today of Sri Ganesh life, his parents, Parvati Devi and Shiva Bhagwan, were watching their children grow. They were watching their children grow, Ramdat. And so, devotees and friends, they knew the qualities of their children. And the two boys now reached of age that they should get married. And as I always tell parents, you don't do anything with the children, make any decision for the children until you first discuss it with them. Principally Sri Ganesha Bhagwan ki. So Parvati Devi and Shiva Bhagwan pulled their two boys together and told them, son, you both are now to age for marriage, and we would now be looking to ensure that you get your match. And the two boys was very happy when the parents told them. And they both shouted out nicely, I am ready. I am ready. So devotees and friends, love was flowing through the hearts of these children. And devotees and friends, on the next side, what happened? Brahmaji, you all know Brahma. So I'm not going to go through the katha of where, who would get married first and son. That everybody knows about that katha between Parvati. So the boys have agreed that they were going to get married. On the next side, my dear friends, Brahma, you ain't ready to marry yet. What you watching, Miss Soni Rav? You far from that. Prem se bole Shri Ram Chandra Bhagavan ki. So devotees and friends, you see, on the next side, Brahma. And Brahma created his children from where? From his mind. He was the creator. So you had the mind-born son of Brahma, Naraji, Daksh, so we had the mind-born sons. That's how the creation came about. So too, Brahma had two daughters. One by the name of Riddhi, and the next one by the name of Siddhi. But devotees and friends, Ganesh Bhagwan is a manifestation of an absolute form. He came from that absolute. And Brahma had 2 children, came from the mind, so they were original children. And so, this is what, my dear friends, in the days gone by, when parents used to say, well, okay, we have to go and check the Yagna. We have to check, the Yagna is when you check the compatibility. In the compatibility ratings, my dear friends, it will tell to you at what stage your child is. And your child can be of 1 out of 3 category. They be Rakshasi, so their qualities will be eat, drink, and marry. They will be Nar. Sometimes they could control themselves, sometimes they can't control themselves. And then they will be of Deutagan, always longing to be in devotion. The average person is into Nargan, where sometimes we fast and sometimes we don't fast, you know. So devotees and friends, but here Brahma had 2 daughters whose match was straight from the beginning. He created them from the source of the universe. And so Ganesh Bhagwan came out also of the absolute of the universe. So these were matched. So Brahma was looking on very carefully at when Shiva and Parvati will be ready to marry Ganesh and Kartikeya. So devotees and friends, when this decision was made, Brahma, my dear friends, sent his mind-born son Narad. And he said, Narad, I want you now go and talk to Ganesh. I want you go and talk to Ganesh ji and find out if he will marry Riddhi and Siddhi. And Narad went not to Shiva and Parvati. Narad went to Ganesh ji. And he told Ganesh, he said, oh Ganesh ji, he says that my father, he has Riddhi and Siddhi to get married. And devotees and friends, I can't go down into giving you the description of how Narad described the 2 girls. Very beautiful description. And if you listen to the description, which I cannot go into this evening, you would know that you will get a proper picture. They were beautiful, they were well shaped, and everything else. And Ganesh said, okay, yes, I will marry. Narad went back home and he didn't talk to Riddhi and Siddhi, you know. Who he talked to? He talked to Brahma. Brahma now spoke to his 2 daughters. And before anything can happen, what Brahma did? Brahma left his abode in Brahmalok and went to Kailash Parvat. What he went to Kailash Parvat for? What do you think he went to Kailash Parvat for? He went to Kailash Parvat not to talk to Sri Ganesh. So somebody will get a Shiva bhajan there now. Eh? He didn't go on there, my dear friends, to talk to Ganesh ji. He sent Narad, who would be in the same level, you know. You smiling to Conan there. I have to watch you more close. Prem se bole Shri Ram Chandra Bhagavan ki. So devotees and friends, if a father has his eyes on a good boy for his daughter, he will pick and he will talk with his children in the same age group to see what is happening there, you know. So if something is wrong, the child in the same age group will say, Father, listen, I know he's so good and he this and you know, and he's a wrong person for my sister. And when the father get the nice return from Narad, he went to speak to Shiva and Parvati. We'll now have a Shiva bhajan and then I will continue with the discussion.
Shiva Shankar bole bale bole, bhakton ke rakhwale tumko लाखों प्रणाम तुम मेरा प्रणाम शिव शंकर बोले वाले बोले भक्तों के रखवाले तुमको लाखों प्रणाम तुमको मेरा प्रणाम
Ganesh Bhagwan ki Jai, Shankar Bhagwan ki. So devotees and friends, Brahma reached to Kailash Parvat and had a discussion with Shiva and Parvati. And devotees and friends, remember Ganesha have already had what you call some prior knowledge of what was going to take place. And so he agreed also, and both Shiva and Parvati was very, very happy. Why were they happy? They were happy, my dear friends, because the meeting of the children was of the same Ganna. They were of the same nature. And so children of the same nature will be attracted to one another. Not necessarily in this age, children of the same religion, children of the same nature. Those who like to party and all of that will find, people into that category. Those who like temple will find people in that category. Those who like to travel will find themselves in that category. Those who like political aspect, they will find people in that aspect. So, my dear friends, the message this evening is that you must, and remember, some nights back, our Katha told to us that the wife that you choose is very important, because the wife can either lift you, give you name and fame and help you to rise, and the wife can also help you to dive. Not so, Prahalad? So, my dear friends, parents, well, I know for a fact, and all parents here today, and those who are viewing us on Sankhya TV, as Bhaiji Ramesh is capturing our session this evening, will know that parents have no say into the whole matter now. But my dear friends, children, I am asking of you, before you get deeply involved with anyone, make sure you start getting a background check. Don't just like somebody because your mind say that's a handsome guy or that is a beautiful girl. No. I always tell my daughters, not my two daughters biologically, but all the girls who I service, their parents, I always tell the girl children, listen child, a boy come and he wants to like you, don't ask too much about the boy. Ask more about the boy's father than the boy. And the boy will feel free. Listen to me. The boy will feel free to talk about his father. That's Omar. He will feel free to talk more about his father than to talk about his own self. He will start hiding little things about himself. But, oh, you want to know about my father? And you start to talk about your father. And children, daughters, know for a fact, a lot of the traits out of the father will be passed on to the son. So you know what you're looking at now. Boys, it might be a little more difficult for you. When you ask, tell me a little bit about your mother. The girls on their mouth very hot these days. I withdraw that statement. The girls and their mouths are a little bit sharp these days. And they will say, are you interested in me or my mother? So boys, it's harder for you to get information. But girls, I'm telling to you, it's easy for you to get information. And you need to know. You need to know. Prem se bole Sri Ganesh Bhagwan ki. So devotees and friends, everything happened. And wedding ceremony started, preparation for the wedding started. And the guests from on Lord Shiva's side would have been thousands, because all the saints and sages and everybody had to be invited. Another thing again, my dear friends, and this might be hard to swallow, but invite people to your wedding not only because you know them. And I'm telling you this because of the experience of the present day wedding. And I'm using Shiva and Parvati here. They invited the divine people. They did bring the people who would send a positive vibration to the wedding. You know, we did a wedding recently, and when you're coming down from Mount Lakshmi Narayan, up there was nice, beautiful. But you know, it still had some fellas on the road to go up the hill there. The trunk was still open. They still had the rum shop and the restaurant in their trunk and the big temple up on the hill. And I want to tell to you, my dear friends, I don't eat in weddings, but I had something to eat in that wedding, and you had food to a leisure. Prem se bole Sri Ganesh Bhagwan ki. So my dear friends, the time have come now that when you, and I keep telling people this, but nobody wants to do it. Put in your wedding card, just like how you like to put invited for Friday and Saturday, put on your wedding cards, no meat and alcohol will be allowed in this wedding. If you're expecting 300 people, prepare for 75. Yes, my viewers on Sankhya TV, put that on your wedding cards. No meat and alcohol will be allowed in this wedding. And my dear friends, if you are expecting 300 guests, you can safely cater for 75. All you need to cater for really now in a wedding, as it is now, is plenty mango takari and paratha roti. They don't want the rest of the things. They come in the wedding house and they take a leaf full with roti and mango takari and they go by their trunk. How disgraceful, how, my dear friends, how disrespectful to the Hindu marriage, which is such a very deep and sacred ceremony. But it is our own Hindu people who is destroying the sanctity and the divinity of our Hindu weddings. Devotees and friends, if you listen to the description of Bhagwan Ganesh wedding, It had the most set of drums. It had everything, my dear friends. And everybody was in the merriment. But it was in a divine context. It was where Ganesh Bhagwan was invited. Saraswati Mata was invited. Lakshmi Mata was invited. Kuber and his group. Das Dikpal Panchapala Devta, you are blessing these children for the protection of everything that they have, from their wealth come back right down. And when you send these negative vibrations with the meat, fish, eggs, and alcohol, what is going to happen? Excuse me. My dear friends, I've never condoned it and I will never condone it. And if I see it continue to happen, where the bars and the restaurants are opening a little way from the mandir, I'll invite, and I'll do weddings now basically for my godchildren. I will tell them, just let the immediate family come. Do your ceremony here, and then go after the next day and do all they want to do. Prem se bole Shri Ram Chandra Bhagwan ki jai, Ganesha Bhagwan ki. Because, my dear friends, in all the weddings that our scriptures tell to us, there is so much of merriment, there is so much of music, there is every single thing. But, my dear friends, this kind of glorified fete that our people are accustomed to, we have to stop it. But none of our Hindu brothers and sisters are brave enough to do it. None brave enough to do it. Put on your wedding card, no meat and alcohol will be allowed. And you have to be specific now, because there's be technical. No meat, no fish, no eggs, and no alcohol. And you have to put it in bold, because they're going to say, Baba, that in fine writing and I didn't see it. So just how you put the date and the place in bold, you put that also in bold. Because it's time now, my dear friends. I'm telling to you, the wedding took place here. The best set of decorations were there. It says the throne or the seat. You know the pirha that we make now, it was a throne that they used to make to get married on. But now we can't make this, it's too expensive now to make this golden chair and all of that for the dulha and the dulhin. My dear friends, it says here that Ganesh Bhagwan took his bath in the Ganga, and on the other side, all the late girls around Riddhi and Siddhi age were preparing them for the marriage. But I want to make a very important point here to let you know, and I'm going to move away now from the personalities of Ganesh, Riddhi, and Siddhi. Because if I leave it like that, then boy will tell to me, he'll say, Baba, if Ganesh Bhagwan had two ladies, Riddhi and Siddhi, tell Daddy that I want two also. Not so, boy? But my dear friends, Riddhi and Siddhi, it is two principles. It is two way of life. And I'm going to let you know. When you pray to Sri Ganesh Bhagwan, and this now is the spirit, this is the deeper meaning of the marriage of Riddhi and Siddhi. I could have taken 3 days and go through this wedding to give you the description of the wedding and everything else. But my dear friends, I want you to know now what is the philosophy of the wedding. Ganesh Bhagwan, my dear friends, is the remover of all obstacles. He is an absolute avatar. And so he is getting married to Riddhi and Siddhi. Riddhi, my dear friends, is that set of activities which will, let me start with Buddhi. Buddhi is everything. Buddhi is the intellect. And Buddhi is everything. So Riddhi and Buddhi is the same. So Riddhi or Buddhi is that illumination. So when you pray to Sri Ganesh Bhagwan, your life will be illuminated. Your life will be glowing in Sri Ganesh. So when you really fit yourself into Sri Ganesh, and you would not get angry anymore. You remember this step, how to reach up to Ganesh? Munesh, you remember this step to get up to Sri Ganesh? All these people in Sankhya TV will want to know who is Munesh. One day I'll have to bring him here before they leave. My dear friends, the step is that we have to leave revenge behind. We have to leave malice behind. We have to leave, we have to be true to our conscience. When we do something wrong, we must accept that we do something wrong. We must be selfless in our doings and we must not be selfish. And devotees and friends, as we come higher. Next one, Munesh. Anger. We must remove the raging anger from us. And so, devotees and friends, then we will be coming up closer and closer to Sri Ganesh. When we reach to Sri Ganesh, we will be aware of the world. We will be aware of what the worldly things have to offer to us, which is limited. We will know that we are limited by time, which so many of us, my dear friends, these are the first teachings of Sri Ganesh. We are limited by time. How many of us accept that we are limited by time? You want to know what I say, Nirav? Time is that we're born, and every day we celebrate a birthday every year. But there will be a time when we will have no more birthdays to celebrate. So that means time end. But so many of us, my dear friends on Sankhya TV, so many of us live our lives as though we will never have an end. So we do what we want, when we want, and how we want, at what age we feel to do it. So devotees and friends, Ganesh Bhagwan teaches us that we must be aware. That we must be aware that we are limited by time. And we must also be aware that we are within a space. We are within a confined area. Devotees and friends, let us live ourselves. And when we come to that awareness, then we are ready to get married. Then we are ready to get married to Riddhi and Siddhi. When we get married to Riddhi or Buddhi, is one and the same. My dear friends, our life is illumined. So everything that you see, you will see it in the flavor of Sri Ganesh. You will see it in the flavor of God. You would see it as a divine act. Like when the earthquake came the other day, you would not say, God come to kill me. All right, Candy? You wouldn't say, God come to finish me. You would say, God is reminding me of a greater something. I said that everybody who prayed that day prayed to God to stop the earthquake because he was frightened. Why, when you're not frightened, you don't pray to God too? Devotees and friends. So, as I told to you, I was sitting in my prayer room having a discussion with two people. And the first thought was to get up and get out. And I sit down on the chair, and you know it's a wheelchair. You know, it is a professional chair with wheels. It's an office chair. So when the earthquake hit this side and that side, the chair started to rock even more. And I didn't get up. The first instant, the first second, it may probably shake me a little. I'm just human. But then I say, Prabhu, where you come from? Well, do what you had to do. But when I see nearly 1 minute gone and you're stopping, I say, but what you doing? Because I was seeing it from a divine view. I was seeing it from a human part. If it means that Trinidad had to done, then it got done with me too, nobody else. So it's a divine act. It's a divine act. So my dear friends, when things happen to us, if we have Riddhi or Buddhi, we will see the divine part of it. If it is not too much into our likeness, then we will search ourselves to see how I contributed to reach there. But the next one is Siddhi. And Siddhi, my dear friends, is the attainment of spiritual fulfillment. It is the attainment of, spiritual powers. But it tells to us that the greatest siddhi that you can attain, and siddhi is achievements, the greatest siddhi you can attain is when you are able to control your anger. When you are able to control your anger, don't raise your hands, but answer to yourself. How many of you present in the Yagna Shala here can control your anger? My dear friends on Sankhya TV, as you're viewing, how many of you viewing here this evening can control your anger? And that is what we have to get married to Sri Ganesh for, to help us to control our anger, to help us to control our selfishness, to help us to control, I go see to you because you do me this, must wait, I go live to see you fall. The revenge, my dear friends, that is the siddhi that we have to marry. The siddhi to conquer all of this. You could be in your motor car and play all the rock and roll music that you want and everything else. But while you're playing the rock and roll music, you make sure that your steering wheel hook on properly to the guide the wheels and the brakes working right. Because if that's not working right, then you won't have no siddhi of the vehicle. You're dead. It's the same thing, my dear friends. We have to get the siddhi of how to manage our anger, how to move away from our selfishness, how to take away the revenge from our minds. And then we would be able to have the siddhi marrying in our minds. Prem se bole Sri Ganesha Bhagwan ki. So my dear friends, this is the marriage that the Lord wants us to have. But you know when that marriage takes place, and we come now and we into the mandir and everything else, what happened? So Ganesh married to Riddhi and Siddhi. Your mind is with the Ganesh, and you are able now to manage. You have the Siddhi of anger, selfishness, revenge, so you live in good. And you have that illumination of the Buddhi that you see in God. Everything that you see it spiritually. You know what happened after? Your ego rise up. That ego rise, my dear friends, and you feel now that you're better than everybody else. So you're gone back down away from Ganesh. So there was once, my dear friends, this devotee. But this devotee, my dear friends, he had a very wonderful task. His name was Adisesha. Adisesha was a snake-like creature. But he used to live in the jata of Lord Shiva, the father of Sri Ganesh. And he used to be fixing the hair of Sri Ganesh. And you see how Sri Ganesh have plenty hair. You know, Prahalad, we ain't had to get nobody to fix ours. We good to go. But my dear friends, Adisesha used to be fixing Lord Shiva here. So he feel he big, he dare. And devotees and friends, one day, a devotee came around. And what happened? Adisesha started to show up his colors. I am with Lord Shiva. I just fix Lord Shiva here. And he started to show off. You know, like how so many people just do. I don't want to say anything. I had to stop there. A thought run through my mind to tell to you all, but I can't tell you all. Sankhya TV here. If by Ramesh you take off, I would have said it. But my dear friends, there are certain individuals who are fortunate to be at the feet of certain gurus. And their boast, my dear friends, make you who not even close to that guru, make you feel that you are nothing, that you. The gurus, if they know this, they will never condone it. So devotees and friends, what did Lord Shiva do? Remember, this is one who fixing his hair and thing. My dear friends, he pulled out Adisesha and he knocked him on the ground, and his head split into 1,000 parts. Tell him, he said, I cannot condone this. It's the last time you are going to come on my head. And devotees and friends, none of us should condone around us this ego, much less for us allowing it to take control of our lives. But you see, the I and the mine and the you and the yours, I am Pandit Vishnu. Devotees and friends, when Yamraj knock on my door, who I am? I am a dead corpse, ready to be cremated. Prem se bole Shri Ram Chandra Bhagavan ki. So devotees and friends, but immediately when he got thrown off, he realized what his mischief was. And then he became ashamed of himself. And I always tell this is my last piece of my discourse for this evening. If you do something wrong and you are not ashamed for what you have done, you will never correct that wrong which you do. You will always try to justify it. It's only when you are ashamed of what you have done. And I mean you go and hide yourself in a corner, No. Be a true Harijan. Accept that you have done something wrong. Narad Muni came by, and devotees and friends, as Narad Muni came by, Narad Muni told to him, he says, you have to pray to Lord Ganesh. And he gave him the mantra, Om Gam Ganapatiye Namaha. Same mantra that you are using. And my dear friends, he recited that mantra. And devotees and friends, he was able to win over the favor of Siddhi and Buddhi. And he had them. They both came with Parvati Vahan, the lion, and they stand up at his side. And they told to him, listen, you have now accepted that you did something wrong, and you have worked your way up, and devotees and friends, Bhagwan Ganesh, you see, it's always said, and the children does it well, When they do the wrong thing with the father, they just go and thing with the mother, little easy, so that the mother will talk to the father and the father will say, okay, we're going with it, Probably in my house is different. They come and they talk to daddy talk to mommy. But normally, it is mommy talk to daddy. Anil, by you, which side it is, boy? Afraid to say, okay, don't bother. Prem Sabala Shri Ram Chandra Bhagavan ki. So devotees and friends, Siddhi and Buddhi, he was able to win them over. And how are you to win Siddhi and Buddhi? You must have that enlightenment, and you must see that it is something that, godly. It happens to you because you have contributed. And the Siddhi is when you get the blessings, the attainment. And so Lord Shiva came and blessed him. He said, okay, the split on your 1,000 head, on your head, you will now become the Seshnag, and you will cover. You will be the covering. He says, and you will get back your job because you have worked your way back to get your job to fix my father here. And he said, because you have pleased me so much, you will now become my belt. So devotees and friends, that is the belt that you see, the snake on the waist of Sri Ganesh. That is Adhisesh. And then he get back his job to fix Lord Shiva here. And then, my dear friends, everywhere you see that 1,000-head snake over there, Lord Vishnu, and that's the same Adhisesh. He worked himself to find and to get that boon. Prem Sabale Sri Ganesha Bhagwan ki. So devotees and friends, I talked a little bit about the wedding of Shiva, Siddhi and Buddhi, and I show you how it worked, how it will work in your own life. So when you do the wrong things, you need to pray. Tomorrow evening, I'm going to tell you of the power of that one word, Gam. We say, Om Gam Ganapati Namaha. The word Gam is the powerful word there. And tomorrow evening, I'm going to tell you about that. Prem Sabale Sri Ganesha Bhagwan ki.